Why on earth would anyone want to leave Florida? Man, I would go through reasons why people want to move here, and we do that in some other videos. I think the last video I shot where I was holding a microphone in one hand and my other hand was just Ricky bobbying the whole time, and I didn't seem to know what to do with it. So I pinned the mic on here. But anyways, check out some other videos. We talk about why people are moving here. What are some of the great things about living in St. Johns County, Florida, St. Augustine, or Florida in general. But we also see a lot of people move here for their reasons, and then they decide to pack up and go. And sometimes they move back where they started, sometimes they move to completely other areas, and sometimes they are what we call halfbacks. And that would be someone that moved from, like me, from Canada, or from the Northeast or something, and move down here, and then they don't want to go all the way back, and so they go half back to like Greenville, South Carolina, or maybe low country. They're looking at Bluffton or Myrtle Beach, or they're going to the mountains, they're going to the beach, but halfway back up. So they still get to enjoy some seasons. They maybe get to enjoy some elevation or different terrain, or just get away from whatever is kind of rubbing them the wrong way here. And so I wanted to talk in this video about some of the reasons that people move here, or maybe they were brought up here, but they are deciding to leave for whatever the reason. And so let's start with number one. I've already sort of touched on it, and that is the weather. Now, we get it. We all know, right? It's Florida. It's hot. It's humid. My wife, she gets out her flattening iron, is the flat one, right? Yeah. And she gets her hair all silky smooth, and it's looking really good. And as soon as we walk outside, it starts to grow and grow. Like the Grinch's heart after he realized that Whoville was amazing. It grew three times the size, whatever. Her hair grows, and she's not a big fan of that, and all that work is put to waste. A lot of times she's like, man, I wish that we lived someplace with less humidity, especially for date nights. I'm like, just put it in a ponytail, whatever. But you didn't come here to listen to my marriage conversations. It's hot and it's humid here. And sometimes people don't realize just how hot and humid it is, or for how long it lasts. We are right now, while I'm shooting this, we're getting towards the end of September. And as I look outside, today's a little overcast, and it looks like it's getting towards fall, except for as soon as I open the door and walk outside, it's going to be like 88 degrees, and it's still going to be humid. And I remember when I was a kid growing up in Canada, we always went to school the Wednesday, I think, after Labor Day, so in September, and it was already getting cool, and we got to wear our, I guess, what were we wearing back then? Our members-only jackets, or the jean jackets, or the flannel over in high school, the flannel over the white t-shirt with the docks and the rip pin. Anyways, I won't go down that road. But it was starting to get cool already, and gosh, if we got to wear shorts, that was an exciting time in the fall. So I still haven't been able to reconcile having it still be 80, 90 degrees in September. Sometimes my marker for Florida now, I've been here for 13 years, is Halloween. And this Halloween, if I dressed as Chewbacca, am I going to be happy I made that choice, or am I going to be upset I made that choice? Am I going to be absolutely sweating underneath that suit, or am I going to be like, phew, it's kind of cool outside, I'm glad I picked something warm to wear? So you just don't know what Halloween's going to be like. You can't plan your costume ahead too far, because you know what the weather's going to be like on October 31st. It's going to be really hot, or it's going to be kind of cold. So maybe to have a little more predictability, and you know you could wear a Chewbacca costume for Halloween, maybe that is one reason that someone wants to move up to maybe someplace a little more mountainy or a little further north, so you know that it's going to be cooler in the fall. So I don't know if we can say that the number one reason Austin gave you for people wanting to leave Florida is the ability to plan their Halloween costume or wear a Chewbacca costume. But anyways, we can roll with that. I don't care. So the number two, well, actually, hold on, and then time out really quick. The other big thing I hear about the weather, we're not even talking about, you know, fear of hurricanes or any of that kind of stuff, because it seems like everywhere you go, there's something. You could have the, you know, crazy ice and snowstorms. You can have tornadoes. You can have flooding. You can have drought. You can have things wherever you decide to live in this beautiful country of ours. But just talking about weather, having seasons and having fall and having the leaves change color. Look outside my window here, and it is September, and I see what we have in our garden here. Everything's still nice and green. Crepe myrtle has maybe a few flowers on it. And then some evergreen trees in the distance, and they pretty much stay evergreen. And then some palm trees, and maybe in January, the leaves change, we get some brown. So you've got nice and green, and then you've got brown, but you never get the reds and the oranges and the yellows and all that stuff that if you live, even up in Georgia or any state north of here, you get to enjoy the beautiful colors of fall. We got married in the fall. My wife loves the fall, and so she would love having a fall and autumn. And then, we get all of our false falls and false springs is what we call them. And false fall's the worst because you start to get cool. For me, fall starts in Florida when we have a day where the high temperature is in the 70s. So if we have a day that the high is 79, I'm like, okay, it's fall now. That's great. And then typically in the evenings, it's nice and it's quite a bit cooler, and we'll enjoy that. And it'll be 75, 74 degrees, 75 for days and days. And all of a sudden, I'm not paying attention. I'm not checking the weather. And boom, it's 85 degrees again. I'm like, dang it. I thought it was fall. I guess it's still summer, but I won't belabor the point. One of the things that people miss when they're here in Florida are seasons. Of course, if I'm talking to you and you are up in Canada, you're in New York, you're someplace cold and snowy, you'll probably just hear this as blah, blah, blah. I just can't do another Arctic winter up here. Great, fine. Come on down here. Give me a call. I'll help you find a beautiful house here. I'll help you find what you're looking for. But we'll get you away from that horrible, horrible snow. And you can go back and visit it. You can go back and ski, do whatever you want, and get you down here where you don't have to shovel. But like I think I said before, maybe 80-85% of the people move here and they love it. If you're one of those 10 to 15% of the people that want to get back out of here or move halfway back, if you're a halfback, then that you'll learn that after you get here and have a great experience in the meantime anyway. So number 2, I think we really need to talk about is the real estate market here. And compared to a lot of the country, I think we're still pretty reasonable if you compared to like California or some places in New York and New Jersey. We still get a lot of good value down here. You can still go out, buy a brand new home, 2,300 square foot home for right around $400,000 in St. Johns County, have the good schools, have the cool neighborhoods with the resort style amenities and all that cool stuff, because we have seen prices soften a little bit right now. The builders are being very aggressive on their incentives and their pricing, aggressive downward right now. And so there's some good deals to be had here in St. Johns County right now. But that said, it's not like it was in 2019 even. I would say in a lot of places, I've seen things double. I think officially in this area, the median home price was $349, and now the same thing, the same area. Now the median home price is $545,000. So you see quite a big jump there. And even like looking at Nocatee when we bought in back in 2012 to today, like the $260,000 home that completely blew our budget out of the water. It sold. We sold it it sold again, and it sold again for I think for like $680,000 at one point. 2,500 square foot home in Nocatee, and again, that's probably softened down again a little bit, but we are not the cheap bargain place we were compared to some of the other places in the country, and so we are seeing a lot of people have built up equity. And now they have, some of the other pressures on them, and they're deciding, hey, you know what, it's time to go, and we can pull $300,000, $500,000, or even a little less than that, depending on when you moved. But they're able to pull that equity out, and rather than buy something here, they're deciding I'm going to go up to another market, like I think I mentioned Greenville, South Carolina. We see quite a few people moving up there, like Bluffton, South Carolina. Just some, it's not all South Carolina, but just some other areas where, people are able to go halfway back, or maybe they're moving back home, or whatever the case may be. They're moving where they're moving, but they're taking their equity and they're getting out rather than trying to make the play here. Because even people deciding to sell, take out their equity, and then rent for a while, or whatever the rationale is. I mean, condominiums, townhomes right now. I have a friend who's looking for a townhome to rent in Shearwater, and or a home to rent in Shearwater, but even just the townhomes are going for anywhere from $2,000 to $2,600 a month. Single family homes, $2,500 to $2,800 a month just to rent. And so, you think, wow, $28,000, $30,000, $35,000 at the end of the year, I could have put that in my own mortgage. Renting maybe isn't as attractive as it once was. But anyway, so the real estate prices have pushed up, and that is for different reasons, driving people to make decisions to go other places as well. So number 3, I think specific to St. Johns County in this area, I think traffic, just the amount of people that have flooded in here, and infrastructure hasn't necessarily kept up. And so just traffic is really starting to annoy some people, irritate some people, and maybe just expanding a little bit bigger than traffic. It might be, some people feel like this area is being overdeveloped. And so we've got a lot of shopping plazas, we've got a lot of schools, we got a lot of restaurants, we got a lot of things that I kind of like having. I like that I'm in Beacon Lake here, and I can go across the street to Beach Walk, and there's a lot of restaurants opening up. We've got a big Publix, we've got gas stations, we've got a lot of convenience. So I can be here in my neighborhood, I can be in my backyard with the woods behind me. I've got the pool, I've got the cage, I've got the fence. It's very comfortable here and pretty serene. I got I'm 50 years old now, so I've got my bird feeders, and I can watch my birds. But if I want to go get something to eat, I want to go get a poke bowl or a acai bowl, or get something else to eat, I could just go across the street to Beach Walk or up to the fountains, and there are a ton of options up in those areas. But for a lot of people, they're looking for something more tranquil and serene. And they don't want to drive out of the neighborhood and have a whole bunch of lights and a whole bunch of stuff going around, especially a whole bunch of traffic. And so admittedly, yeah, this frustrates me as well. Just an example, I call it, I'm leaving Beacon Lake, so that's on County Road 210, across from Beach Walk. It's just east of I-95 and just west of US 1, Phillips Highway. And when I make a left out of here to go to 95, I call it traffic roulette, because I have no idea if it's going to take me 5 minutes or 35 minutes to get from here all the way to I-95. Now, I like that I can go to the right instead, and I've got US 1, and it helps me avoid some things, but sometimes you just need to go west on 210, and where it narrows down right when you get past Beach Walk right now, it narrows down to 2 lanes. Now it's 3 lanes. They have 2 lanes coming east and 1 lane going west while they're doing construction. It can lead to a lot of frustration. I know that there's a lot of frustration over by Shearwater. Again, they're making the steps, they're widening things, the construction is underway, but right now it is pretty terrible sometimes. Again, I think I mentioned my friend that's looking for a rental in Shearwater. He some days has to go into Shearwater to pick up his kids or bring them to school, and it takes him well over an hour to go from where he lives into Shearwater, get his kids, take them to school, get back out again. Hour and 15 minutes, just because of the crazy traffic in that area. Again, it's getting fixed, but I can totally see it right now where it's super frustrating and making people be like, peace out, I don't need this. I moved from a place with a lot of traffic, and now I expect to be able to, get where I'm going in 10 minutes instead of sitting in traffic for an extra 20, so it takes 30 minutes. That's no good. Also, I-95, I call I-95 between where the outlets are at 16, and then you have the World Golf Village exit, and you're going to have another Silverleaf exit coming in there at some point, and then up to 210. That corridor in there, I call it the Bermuda Triangle of I-95. And that is because it seems like every 2 days I turn on traffic and I see that there's a truck on fire, that there's a big wreck, a big crash, and I don't honestly understand it. It's a pretty straight bit of I-95. There's not a lot of on and off exits. It's not super complicated, but for some reason people must just lose their ever-living minds on that stretch of road, and it's a disaster. It's a big mess. And so I can see a lot of people saying, you know what? I'm going to move someplace where the roads are better, the traffic is less, and it's more serene. And for some people, that's still here in Florida. We see people moving down to Palatka. You can get some nice riverfront stuff down there for pretty good bargains till right now. Over to Clay County, maybe even up in Nassau County. But a lot of times we see people moving out of here as well. Just hopefully not Greenville, because South Carolina, man. Yeah, I don't know if you've driven through South Carolina ever, but when you're in South Carolina, because the road starts getting bumpy and it narrows down, the traffic gets bad. It's South Carolina roads are no bueno for sure. So don't think you can leave Florida, move to South Carolina, and be happy about the roads. But anyways, number one was weather. Number two. Real estate prices, and you can tell I'm winging this, right? And then number three is just traffic and overdevelopment. So let's go with the number four reason. I think just a kind of a unique reason I've seen being in real estate and helping a lot of people build new construction homes in this area. That's sort of where I cut my teeth, was helping people move from out of state with the new construction process. And I remember back in 2017, 2018, 2019, just how that process went. And it was a little bit more amiable than, say, going into 2020 and COVID. And even maybe just even a little bit before that. I don't remember what year it was, but when Hurricane Harvey came through, it was down in Texas. A lot of the trades realized that they needed to get out of here and head down there and chase the storm down there. And there was a lot of work, a lot of business for them. And back then, the builders, I was talking to a manager at David Weekley Homes around here, which is a privately owned Texas builder, but they build here. And they were telling me that they used to have vendors lining up, like, please let us work for you. Please let us work for you. We really want to work for you. So you have electricians, you've got drywallers, and they were kind of able to pick the best of the best and build a really nice, solid home with all the subs being super high quality. Well, ever since probably that Harvey time, but then, COVID and just a lot of the building going on, there's absolutely a lack of, we're lacking in tradespeople these days. And so, the subs have kind of maybe gone downhill in some areas. One way, for instance, I've seen it even like the last 4 years for sure, is tile work. Tile work is awful around here. It just is what it is. And you should hear my wife talk about this. Like, why can't you just do it right the first time? And I don't know how many showers I've seen where they're doing subway tile and it's like disjointed and the lips are all off. And we've got to tell the builder, you got to bring your guy in, and he's not going to change 2 or 3 tiles. They got to take it all out and redo the whole thing. And we're seeing that a lot with the new construction here now. Unfortunately, with some of the trades, we're seeing bad electrical work. We're seeing bad tile. We're seeing just a lot of problems. And so the first point there, I know I'm getting off track a little bit, but if you're building a home here, you absolutely have to have a real estate agent who's going to watch out for you and fight for you. And number two, gosh, you need a really good home inspector who's able to get in there and make sure that your house is being built as it should be, not just to code and not relying on the county inspectors. You need to have a private home inspector in there doing that for you. I know a bunch, and if you want some of the best of the best, reach out to me, fire me a text, my number's here, and let me know, I'll get that to you. But just some of the home quality here has slidden. And so I've seen people move down here and they've just been disappointed in their house. Maybe they have leaks. Maybe the tile doesn't look right. And every time they walk into their bathroom and they're looking at the tile and it's off kilter, and they're like, why did I close on my home when it looks like this? This isn't what I was promised. And they're fighting with the builder, doesn't want to fix things. And at some point, it just kind of sours their experience. And they're like, peace out, this isn't what I expected. And so I think, I guess I kind of went into this talking about builder and build quality, but I think we could even expand this a little bit wider to unmet expectations and disappointment. And so they expected that their house was going to be a certain way and it didn't turn out. And they're just disappointed in the builder response. They're disappointed in maybe the neighborhood, maybe the amenities, maybe their CDD fees have gone up, things like that. And so just unmet expectations and disappointment, but especially related to the build quality of the house that they're in. I'm seeing more and more of that where people are like, you know what, this just isn't it. And they decide to try somewhere else where they're probably going to run into some of the same problems, honestly, or they're just going to go buy a resale that was built earlier, or whatever the decision is. The disappointment that they're feeling here has them going other places. And so number 5, let's talk for a minute about, so we talked about overdevelopment and traffic, but sort of related to that, and maybe some of the reason we see the traffic is just the crowdedness, the tourism, and just not wanting to deal with all of that mess. And so even things like you want to go out to eat sometimes of year, down in St. Augustine, for instance. So St. Augustine is beautiful. I love St. Augustine so much. It's an amazing city. And every year they have the Night of Lights. And the Night of Lights is spectacular. It's beautiful. They got, I think it's the biggest light display in the world or something like that. And there's millions and millions of lights all over St. Augustine. It's beautiful. Especially if you're a big Christmas fan like me and you're in September and you're already like, man, can we hurry up and get through Halloween so I can put up Christmas decorations? But it's beautiful. But man, sometimes when you get into December, towards the end of like Thanksgiving through New Year's, and you're trying to get to St. Augustine, it is just a mess. And parking is a mess. And the parking garage is super ridiculously expensive down there. But if you live in St. Johns County, you can get a really, really, really good deal. And it costs you a couple bucks a day to park in that garage. That costs, I think it's 15 or 20 bucks now for a day. But anyways, like getting to St. Augustine, your favorite restaurants, you need to get reservations quite a ways in advance. And you're just dealing with the crowds and the people. And it's just not it now for people. And they want to go back to, again, we talked about overdevelopment. And so that kind of leads to the overcrowding problem as well, where it's just don't want to deal with all the time it takes and how crowded things are. And so some people are saying peace out to that. And again, I'm going to go someplace that's a little more serene. And again, a lot of people moving to these more serene places, it's going to lead to the same thing eventually. You're going to have the crowd starting to form there, and it's going to develop, and so on and so forth. I think maybe the only way to avoid that is to move out into the middle of South Dakota or something. I don't know. But actually, it doesn't sound too bad to me. We got Starlink now. You can get your internet. You can get, well, that's maybe another video. But there's obviously a desire for that type of lifestyle. We get a lot of people looking to move here to Northeast Florida, And they like having things to do. They like the development. They like the beach. They like the focus on nature here. There's still a lot of nature paths. There's a lot of places to go kayaking and fishing and stand-up paddleboarding, which for me is more like falling in the water paddleboarding. Did I say beaches? I probably said beaches. But there's a lot to offer here in Northeast Florida. So a lot of people want to move here, and they're trying to keep that serenity as well. And so they're looking to buy like a big piece of land. And don't let me forget the schools as well. And so they want the St. Johns County schools, and they want a big piece of land where they can just build their own house. And I would say 99 times out of 100, that just doesn't work because we just don't have the affordable land here in St. Johns County for the large parcels and to be able to build something. And so most people wind up moving to a neighborhood where the builder already has a nice lot and the builder's already building there, and so they can build something fairly affordable. Not saying it can't happen, it's just, again, 98, 99 times out of 100, that's what people end up doing. And so, again, if you're looking to come down here, because I'm not sitting here talking about how miserable an experience it is, but just some reasons why people are leaving. But obviously people are coming here too, and if you're looking to get rid of your state income tax and you love the beach and you don't mind your hair going frizzy in the humidity and you don't want to shovel snow and you want to come down here and you're looking for a big piece of land, reach out to me, because a lot of times I know what's being canceled and I know what's coming to the market before anyone else does, because I've just stayed in such contact with the builders. Also, if you are building, we will be on top of it for you. If you're coming from out of state, we're out there on site taking pictures of your build every couple of weeks and putting them in a big Dropbox folder. And so at the end of your build, you have this 300, 400, 500 photo folder, and you want to know where the main power line comes in your house so you don't like put a big picture nail through it or something silly like that. You know where it is. And we'll have good inspectors for you to work with so you can make sure that your build turns out how you want it to, so you're not leaving in disappointment like we talked about earlier. Anyways, my name's Austin. Please, 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 it would help me so much if you would just hit subscribe on this video if you've made it this far, if these are helpful for you, because that encourages me to say, hey, get your butt in gear and make more videos. Get some more vlog or walking around type videos coming up for you. And if there's something that you want to see, just send me a text or reach out to me here, and I'll try to work on that for you. Anyways, thank you.